Yeah, the TV industry is facing a number of challenges and really opportunities in today's world. I think the biggest one, right, is how are we aligning and focusing on measurement in a converged television world, and how are we aligning on measurement in an omni-channel world, right? So just thinking through the very basics, right, of getting counting right. So how are we're still not at a point where we know how sort of a broadcast impression versus a cable impression versus a CTV impression is counted, and then taking it a step further of, okay, if that impression is on a laptop or if it's on a connected television or it's on a mobile device, like how are those all being transacted or counted rather? And then from there, I think once the industry can align on that, we need to then look at, well, how are we transacting, right? And there's been such a hot topic lately of, we're now in a world where we don't have to only look at this old world of reach and frequency, right? We can turn to outcomes. And that's really the more exciting part of the conversation, because it's new to us and it's new to the television world. And then additionally, I think the next challenge, once we can figure all of those things out, we really need to look to automation. And this is particularly relevant in a local world, in a local television world, right? Because local has historically been high volume, high transaction, scatter marketplace that moves quickly. So automation is certainly key.
Let's drill down into that local a little bit more, because the idea of local within TV advertising in particular and digital video seems to be taking on greater emphasis. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think national brands are starting to recognize that local offers great outcomes and great results. The reality is that where a person goes out to eat, where they go to shop for their clothes, where they go to purchase a car, what they are streaming in their home is a very personal and localized experience. And when national brands can kind of hit that and get that right, they're seeing greater outcomes. And additionally, if you think about what we learned from the pandemic is there was this greater emphasis on what is happening in local communities from a regional breakdown, and the industry hasn't lost that. So what's really exciting about Madhive is I think most media or ad tech companies approach the space from a national perspective, right? Like, let's try and tackle national, get national right. But Madhive looked at the industry and said, well, actually, why don't we try and sort of paint the corners of the canvas and paint the edges and make sure that we can get this right from a local perspective and a very granular perspective. And from there, we're going to find that national is certainly easier, right? If we can kind of slice and dice media, look at outcomes and measurement from 210 DMAs or 50 states or all of the congressional districts, or then any number of ways you can sort of bring together zip code targeting, then you can certainly get national right.
So you said two themes that I think kind of dovetail, right? You talked about the emphasis on outcomes and not just media spend, right? You also talked about local, and from my understanding, a lot of local advertisers are focused on outcomes, right? If it's the local car dealership, they're trying to drive in-store traffic. If it's the local movie theater, they want people to buy tickets. Is there anything that you're particularly excited about over the course of this coming year that in terms of the outcome space or in terms of the local advertising space?
There's a ton of things that I'm excited about. So, 2022 is certainly a year of, I think, everyone in the industry saying, okay, we need to come together and figure out, this measurement problem, right? For as much as it's a problem, it's really more of an opportunity, because, as I mentioned, we're in a world where there's multiple ways that we can look at this challenge. And I think that as we continue to move forward, will really be able to, take these measurement outcomes and then automate them and sort of combine them together, and live in a world where advertisers can plan and then buy and optimize on results in real time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tameka.